Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching more details. Why Todd and Julie Chrisley now have hope for early release. Todd and Julie Chrisley now have hope for an early release, but why? It seems something big has happened that has led them to believe they can get out early. Their daughter Savannah has also been trying to get them out of prison since the day they were arrested. Keep reading to find out more. Todd and Julie Chrisley are currently in federal prison. The two of them were arrested for tax evasion and fraud. This is something they still have not owned up to. However, their daughter, Savannah Chrisley, has been fighting for their freedom. Julie has a resentencing hearing. However, she did not get any time shaved off of her sentence. Fans think this is due to her asking for so much and Savannah calling out the judge. In fact, she got more probation time out of the hearing. Her lawyers blame it on her fame and the judge wanting to make a point. Todd and Julie Chrisley are now hopeful for an early release. This is since Donald Trump was elected as the new president of the United States. Savannah truly believes Trump will pardon her parents. Todd is jumping for joy in prison and is so optimistic that he will be able to walk out of there when Trump takes office. Ever since they were convicted, she has spent every waking hour campaigning to free them, and when she found the loophole through the RNC, she jumped on it. She took that stage in the hope of seeing her parents walk out of jail, and it will likely happen. So of course, she is gloating. Everyone is just hoping that she stops going on. Fans do not think this is going to be the case, though. They think the Chrisleys are nowhere close to being a priority on Trump's to-do list. It seems that the entire family thinks Donald Trump is going to let them out of prison early. However, this has not been confirmed by Trump himself or anyone else. Fans seem to think the family is delusional for thinking this. People think he has a lot more to worry about than getting the Chrisleys out of prison. What do you think about their new, hopeful mindset? Do you think they are wrong? Sound off in the comments below. For months, the story of Todd and Julie Chrisley has played out like an unexpected twist in one of the reality TV dramas they once ruled. The glamorous couple, once known for their quick wit and lavish lifestyle on Chrisley Knows Best, has spent the last year living in a world far removed from the rolling cameras and red carpets. Instead of designer wardrobes, they wear prison uniforms. Instead of bustling Atlanta mansions, they now live in separate federal facilities hundreds of miles apart. But in a surprising turn of events, there's a renewed sense of hope. A whisper that their days behind bars might end earlier than expected. And for those who have followed their journey from reality, TV stardom to courtroom battles, this shift feels almost cinematic. The beginning of the fall, Todd and Julie's legal troubles began with shocking accusations: bank fraud, tax evasion, and conspiracy. The charges painted a very different picture than the loving, bantering couple fans saw on television. In 2022, after a high-profile trial, the Chrisleys were sentenced, Todd to 12 years and Julie to 7. For many, it seemed like the end of their reality TV dynasty. They entered prison in January 2023, and the once lively Chrisley social media pages went silent, except for occasional updates from their children. The family was fractured physically, but emotionally, they rallied together. Todd's location in Florida and Julie's in Kentucky meant no chance of seeing each other, an ache that grew heavier with each passing month. The spark of hope. Recently, however, the Chrisleys received news that could drastically change their timeline. New federal policies, ongoing appeals, and behind-the-scenes advocacy have combined to create a glimmer of early release possibility. Sources close to the family say their legal team has been working relentlessly to challenge aspects of their conviction. While appeals can take years, there's also been movement on a broader scale. Federal prison reform measures aimed at reducing sentences for nonviolent offenders especially those with no history of physical harm to others. One policy in particular, the First Step Act, has been quietly shifting release dates across the country. It allows inmates who meet certain criteria to earn time credits for good behavior, educational programs, and vocational training. And from all reports, both Todd and Julie have been model inmates. Life behind bars, and the fight to come home. Todd, who once spent his days in tailored suits, has adapted to the rigid structure of prison life in Florida. Friends say he's been taking courses, mentoring younger inmates, and even working in facility programs to pass the time productively. Julie in Kentucky has immersed herself in vocational classes and faith-based groups, finding comfort in a routine that is far simpler, yet far harsher than her life before. Their children, especially Savannah Chrisley, have been outspoken about the conditions their parents face. In interviews, Savannah has detailed what she calls neglect and mistreatment, describing issues with basic necessities, safety concerns, and the emotional toll of isolation. These public statements have stirred conversation, and in some cases, sympathy, among fans and even political voices. It's this growing awareness that may be playing a role in how their situation is being viewed legally. The more light shown on prison conditions and nonviolent sentencing disparities, the more momentum there seems to be for reform that could benefit people like the Chrisleys. The appeal in motion. The Chrisleys' legal team isn't just counting on policy changes. They're actively pushing for a fresh look at the case. Several points from their trial are being challenged, from how evidence was presented to whether certain testimony was admissible. Legal experts note that even a partial victory on appeal could result in a reduced sentence, or at least a resentencing hearing that factors in new guidelines. There's also the question of proportionality. Many nonviolent offenders with similar charges have received less time than the Chrisleys, and this inconsistency has been a major talking point for their lawyers. If the appeals court sees merit in these arguments, it could open the door for significant time shaved off their sentences. Family as the driving force. While law and policy play a huge role, the emotional engine behind the Chrisleys' hope is their family. Savannah has practically taken on the role of public spokesperson, updating fans and organizing legal efforts. Chase Chrisley, the couple's son, has been more private but equally dedicated, handling behind-the-scenes matters to keep the family business and personal affairs afloat. Julie's mother, Nanny Faye, has become a rallying figure, not only offering moral support, but reminding the public of the human cost of incarceration.